it was criticising really what he believes is Spurs looking at talented players who are very gifted, but ultimately they haven't looked at the whole package. They haven't looked at the physical side of them and whether they're able to handle the Premier League and the intensity. And he kept saying to me this expression of like, the Premier League is not comparable to other games. He said, other leagues. He said, he kept saying it's almost like another sport. And I get what he means. It is. It's fast. It's furious. It's just so physical. And it takes a special kind of player, I think, to be able to adjust their game to be able to cope with that. But yeah, he went in hard. He essentially called, Lo Celso and Ondembele were kind of mistakes. He said mistakes that we just cannot make anymore. With Hill, he said he's a really talented player. He is. What else did he say about him? He said he's a clever player. He understands the game really well. However, he said this is a very physical league and it requires different things. And that's what the people in recruitment have to look at. And, Brian Hill was a Paratici signing. That's a big thing. He's come straight in. This is the thing. I always get this impression that kind of people think that Paratici and Conte are like the bestest of buds. And I don't think that's the case. I think I've said this before. I think there's a working relationship there. But certainly no... he's not sugarcoating stuff. He's not coming in and saying, not backing up my mate, he's not going to criticise him. There was criticised, dished out all over the shop. He's not shy about making his feelings known, Conte. He's just not. And that comes with the confidence of being a guy who's won 5 league titles as a manager. And as a player, he won everything. He's won in Italy. He's won in England. It's like... These are the kind of guys that you listen to. You just do. It's like, and I know, I've said this before, and I where it's continued, that Conte has brought a lot of home truths to Daniel Levy, especially. He's said a lot of things that Daniel Levy probably hasn't been told in the years that he's been at the club. Spurs always have a very set idea of how they're doing things. Probably to a fault at times. Maybe they think they're doing things in the right way when they haven't, and clearly, mistakes are made. They are. So I think having one of the world's best coaches, one of the most successful managers in recent times, telling you, really? You reckon? Do you think exactly what you're doing is the perfect way to do this? Because I've come in and I've not seen that. It's not rocket science. As I said, you listen to people like this. You just do. It's just like, he knows what he's talking about. Whatever Spurs and the hierarchy at the club, Daniel Levy, the board, whatever, have thought about the trajectory of the club. And I don't know. I don't know whether... they just need to look at some of the decisions they've been making, whether it's in terms of the managers hired, whether it's in terms of players bought, and just look at the slump on the pitch. But not only that, off the pitch, they've let the relationship with a lot of the fans, I think, kind of dwindle and fragment. I think they misunderstood maybe that the Poch time and what was happening. For me, it's just my opinion. I think during the Poch time, when it was absolutely at its peak, the fans identified with that team. They felt proud about their club again. They felt like there was something happening. And I don't know whether... I'd like to think not, because I don't think they're stupid people at all. Daniel Levy's clearly a clever guy, business size. I don't think there's little you can criticise him on the business side of things. Football, obviously, is a different matter. But what I would say is that I'd hope that those in the powers that be that didn't believe that the fans were kind of loving everything they were doing. Because I think it was always... Yeah, it was. I think that's the best way to say it, is the fans identified with that team and what Pochettino was doing. He gave them their belief back again. I suppose you could say Levy and the board appointed Poch, so they made that right decision. However, like I say, that association was with the team, the players and the manager. And I think what we're seeing right now, and like I said, it was a great atmosphere yesterday, honestly. There was, I don't know if I wrote down the crowd, how many, 54,697 crowd. That's the highest in just over the highest in more than 3 months, that is, that attendance. And it's the first time since, I think it was a Norwich game, they've had a crowd over 50,000. And I think it was just such a great atmosphere. Every name before kickoff was cheered so loud in throughout. Like Conte said, he couldn't even communicate with the players. It was that loud. But while under the Poch times, the fans were identifying with the team and Poch and what he was doing, I think right now the fans are identifying with Conte. That's not the club. That's not what the powers that be are doing. That's identifying with Conte. Conte is saying all the right things. He's saying, this is wrong. This is what I want to do. And the fans are going, I'll have a bit of that. I like that. And that's what they're doing. And while it gets probably some of the heat and pressure off of not only probably Daniel Levy, but maybe also Fabio Paratici as well, who, there's been questions asked about him recently as well. Obviously, he picked Nuno, who was not the greatest appointment and the right fit for Tottenham. And obviously, the hit rate on the transfers so far has not proven to be great. But yeah, so I hope that those in the power at Tottenham are aware of this delicate situation where that crowd is behind Conte. I know it's not about one man. One man doesn't define a club. It's not about one man. But I think in this situation, there's a lot of frustration and it's being now put into a confidence in one man. But that creates a scenario where if the club do not back that one man, they will swiftly be hearing about it, especially as Conte is not shy in making his feelings known. So it's going to be a really interesting balance now. He's carving a very nice position for himself at Tottenham, is Conte, because I think he's vocalising a lot of the gripes that Tottenham fans have had as well. So, yeah, I mean, some really good quotes within what he told me. That's it. He said, I hope I transferred my thoughts to the club because I repeat, I have my vision. I'm here to try to help the club to improve. In my experiences in the past, I've built good structures, good teams that have lasted over time and also then without me. It means maybe if I'd say something and have a vision, I see the situation. Here, we need to build. We need to build a good structure and create a good foundation. It will be very important to not make mistakes in the future because in this moment, many teams are higher than us. And for this reason, to catch up with them, we have to reduce the mistakes. We have to reduce them, have a vision and follow this line. I mean, you don't get any clearer than that. That is the clearest possible message. Stop doing what you're doing. Listen to me. Conte is a man who knows what it takes for a club to be successful. With no disrespect intended to those in the charge of Tottenham Hotspur, they don't. They just don't. One trophy in 20 or so years does not constitute success as a football team. As a club, I will always say, yes, they have improved the club as an entity, it's on a more solid foundation for the future. But in terms of the nuts and bolts of what football success is measured on, no. And this is where Conte comes in. Obviously, they can only back him within reason and what they can afford. But, Paratici, like I said before, is doing a big old overhaul behind the scenes. And I think this is going to be part of it. And hopefully, Spurs, maybe just took for granted a little bit of what they had in Poch, rather than seeing that everything needed to continuously improve around him. And hopefully this is what Conte's kind of ramming down everyone's throats. And it might not be the worst thing for Tottenham and a bit of a wake-up call. Because like I say, I think Daniel Levy's been, from what I understand from people within the club, has been hearing some things that maybe he's just not used to hearing. And Conte's a man you listen to, hopefully. So and I think this window kind of showed that they're starting to listen to him as well.